around R-1 and OSR. And we have filling in for Sue for a little while tonight, our Associate Town Administrator, Gary Palmer.
Thank you. Do you need me to do an introduction on this?
Just a little bit, if you would, please.
Bridgemore, concept plan for Bridgemore. Each year we have to approve the concept plan. It's part of our subdivision regulations, I believe, or the zoning ordinance. And this is standard reapproval, and staff recommends approval of the concept plan.
Anyone here has question or comment representing Bridgemore?
No change since last year, is there?
No change.
In that case, I move to approve.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Discussion and public hearing on the pedestrian bridge and trail from McPhee Road to the walking trail in Wentworth subdivision. And I think Ruth had some things she was going to tell us about the process you're going through, both with the folks at Wentworth and with the homeowners whose property is adjacent to the trail.
I know very limited information, so it'd probably be best if I just read portions of the memo for the public record. The Wentworth subdivision walking trail is parallel to Little Turkey Creek and runs from Old Stage Road to the Wentworth recreation area. The trail was constructed at the time Wentworth was developed. When McPhee Road was reconstructed, a walking trail was built on the east side of the road. It has been a long-term goal of towns to construct a connector trail between the Wentworth Trail and the McPhee Road Trail. I'm going to try to bring this up on the projector in a second here, but attached, please find in your packets an aerial photo of the general area of McPhee Road at the south end of the Caswell-Stooksbury subdivision, the north end of Bridgemore subdivision, and the Wentworth walking trail near the recreational area. In order to connect McPhee Road and Wentworth trails, a new trail must cross private property in Little Turkey Creek. Last fall, Ruth met with Bill Wickman, president of the Wentworth Homeowners Association, and the possibility of connecting to the portion of the trail that is located on the Homeowners Association's land. Mr. Wickman took the request back to their board, and they agreed to grant the town an easement for the trail. Mark Shipley and Ruth also met with Mr. and Mrs. Lou Floyd, the residents whose land lies between the Wentworth land and McPhee Farm, Bridgemore subdivision. Shortly after that meeting, Mr. Floyd passed away. Ms. Floyd agreed to grant the town an easement. The easement across the north end of McPhee Farm, Bridgemore subdivision, was obtained at the time McPhee Road was reconstructed. Once we had the easement agreements in place, the town entered into a contract with Billy Fulgham of Fulgham McIndoe to conduct a flood study to determine where the bridge should go, how long the bridge should be, and how high the bridge needed to be, and where the bridge abutments should be located. Little Turkey Creek splits in that vicinity. Mr. Fulgham has completed that work and is now working on detailed construction plans. Attached, please find two maps showing the proposed location of the bridge and how it ties into the existing Wentworth Trail and McPhee Farm Bridgemore subdivision. Also attached is a copy of the GIS map of the general area showing the floodway and floodplain. Staff recommends approval of the bridge and the trail connection. Let me see if I can bring this up. And with that, while I'm trying to bring this up, you want to open it up to discussion?
Okay, right. I was going to ask Mr. Wickman, do you, is he here tonight? Could you come up to, do you have anything you want to say? If you do, come up to the podium, please, and tell us who you are.
Thank you very much. My name is Bill Wickman. I'm currently serving as the president of the Wentworth Homeowners Association. And I guess the only clarification in hearing that memo that I would make is as far as granting easement. What we did was grant right of access to do preliminary surveys. So we'll still have to go through the easement process. In talking with our board and our homeowners in general, you know, the neighborhood is positive about the project. Ruth has done a really good job about keeping everybody informed, and I think that has really helped. I don't know how many of you all were around when they first looked at doing this project several years ago, and there was a lot of miscommunication and the homeowners not knowing what was going on. It left a bad taste in people's mouths back then that I think has been totally reversed. So a very positive comment about the way the town is handling it this time. If there are any concerns that I have heard, it is in regards to just making sure that the bridge doesn't pose any sort of a possible hazard for flooding or catching debris coming down the creek. But again, in my conversations with Ruth, it appears that all the due diligence this time is being taken place. So I guess to summarize it right now, the Wentworth subdivision is in full support.
Thank you. Now, would you go back over that part with Ruth while Ruth is here about?
Oh, as far as the easement,
right.
Yeah. Well, we granted right of access to the property for surveying, but we still have to go through the I guess a formal easement for the bridge.
Yes, what we have is the right to survey, get on there, do the flood study, do the further study. Fulgham McIndoe is completing the work. So to give more actual construction plans, and then once we have that done, which is surveyed down with points of distance and bearing information, then we will be going back to them and to the Floyds and getting a better defined permanent easement.
Don't need that before we do our vote.
No. Partially wanted this on for this evening so that folks just in the general area were aware of what was going on. We've gotten a lot of requests for this, and I apologize for being late, but since I have the overhead up, the trail will follow along the property line here and then cross in this area right in here, and this is where the creek forks. So it will cross that in the wooded area, and but we've gotten a lot of comments, requests, wow, this would be a really good idea, so we wanted to get this onto the Planning Commission and let folks know that yes, this is coming. And also with Wentworth folks, if there were people that were interested in speaking.
Also, would you address a little bit their concern of debris and catching on the bridge and the town's maintenance of that sort of thing?
Matter of practice, whenever there's pinch points, our public works crews will go out if they're notified that there's some kind of a problem. And here is the creek, right here. Bridge abutments were spaced far enough apart that the majority of typical stream debris will go on through, that it's not such a narrow constricted situation. And but if there's, generally speaking, when you have the kind of debris that would block this, that would be a large tree that has fallen, and our public works crew will go out there right after they're notified. We're notified that there's a problem or whatever. And it's one of the good things about our trails is so many people use them. If they do see a problem, we get calls very quickly about things that need to be taken care of. So with regards to debris, yes, we do know it does happen, but we feel that this design will not create a damming problem.
What type of construction is the bridge?
Pardon?
Steel and concrete, or?
Yes, actually, that's one of, we will probably do something very similar to what we have at Campbell Station Road Park, where the abutments are built, and then we come in with the crane and drop it on there. And that company does a lot of different kinds of bridges, different styles and everything, and so we'll probably do something very similar to what we have at Campbell Station Road, Campbell Station Park.
Oh, yes, yeah, no, absolutely. I guess if there was one other question that I couldn't see from that was, not to put Ruth on the spot, what is the vertical clearance of that bridge? Do you know?
No, I don't know off the top of my head, but I do know that when we met with Billy Fulgham, that was one of the things that we talked about, we being Daryl Smith, our town engineer, Billy and I, and it is probably around 4 feet above the trail height. So that kind of, it'd be 4 to 5 feet above the trail height, given the number of steps that we were talking about. So that kind of gives you an idea from being out there.
Okay. Thank you, and again, I'll repeat, the general comments from our neighborhood have been positive for the project.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Are the Floyds here? Do they have anything any questions or comments they'd like to make?
I have talked with Mrs. Floyd and her son Jeremy, and I will be going out there and meeting with them and showing them where we'll be putting the trail and things.
Approve.
Pardon?
Ramp.
Yes, this is the ramp.
Okay, it goes from the sides.
Ramps or the steps.
Wentworth side thing that looks like it just ties right into the turn in the trail that's already there. So.
Yes, it will. The steps come down on the existing trail, or will come down on the existing trail.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Discussion and public hearing on the final plat for the Outlet Drive Extension, parcel 154, tax map 130, zone C-2, 27.56 acres, located west of Cotton Eye Joe's, to plat the road right-of-way and 6 lots. Farrow Family Partnership, LP, is the applicant here.
In your packet, I included a reduced copy of the plat and also a letter to the applicant identifying the necessary changes and the staff summary of the plat. What you see on the overhead represents the western portion of this plat, of this area. The road has actually been built just shy of their western property line, and the reason for this was because of the rock and not being able to build to the property line without infringing upon the adjacent property. The area you see that's encircled, that is a sinkhole. This is a detention basin. Another detention basin on the far eastern side. And then the area north of the road is open space and buffer. They opted when they constructed the road to push it as far north as possible, just so that the lots on the south side would be larger and more developable.